Welcome to Why Rush Racing, and welcome to Off-Road Racing 101. And today, we're going to talk about lapping, and more importantly, being lapped. Alright, so let's just start out by saying nobody really likes being lapped, but think about this. Unless you're an A rider, chances are you're getting lapped. So, if you're a first-time rider thinking like, oh man, I want to go out and race, I want to see how I can do, but man, I don't want to get lapped. Well, guess what? You're probably going to get lapped anyways. So, that's not really a good reason to not get out and try it out and see what's going on. Another point I want to make right here at the beginning is this, is you may hear some talk about people, there being too many lappers or whatever, lappers being in the way or whatever. Let me just say that it's not a bad thing for the sport. Probably it's a good thing, because what it shows is that there's interest in the sport's growing, and there may be a little bit of growing pains in certain series, but if you hear talk about that, don't let that discourage you. And if anything, just be glad you have a place to ride. Alright, now for my first tip, I've said this a lot of times, I've said it in my videos. My kind of phrase is, look forward, listen backwards. You can tell the big difference between a guy you're racing versus a guy that's lapping you. Because if you're a C rider like me, you know, we're like, you know, and then we'll brake and on the brake. But man, those A guys or some of the B guys or a lot of the B guys are like, and then like braking and then for a little bit they're braking. I mean, they're just on it, right? And so, and then they'll let you know a lot of times coming up, they'll give it the revs like, you know, kind of wrapping it out. So you got a really good idea when they're coming versus the guy you're racing. So, look forwards, listen backwards. The best tip I can give you, and you'll get out of the way as long as you pay attention. Because some of these kids, I feel sorry for some of these juniors, man. If I was them, I'd already be freaking out just racing, right? And then add to the mix some of the guys like Brandon Forrester and Andrew Smith just flying by. Whoa, mind-blowing, right? So just try to stay as calm as possible, look forward, listen backwards, and really it eliminates 99% of your problems. All right, for my next tip is don't crash getting yourself out of the way, right? So I remember my first Hare Scramble. It was at Richland Creek, and Richland Creek's kind of funky how they had it set up, because I felt like I was maybe halfway through my first lap. It wasn't all that fast, but I thought I was pretty early. And man, Cole Hensley came up behind me, and I think pretty sure it was a 4-stroke, and he was like, "Brrr," you know, to give me the call, right? And I'm like, oh my God, it's a pro rider right behind me. And I'm like, what do I do? And I'm like, first I wasn't staying calm, which I said you should do, and I just ended up just crashing right there in front of him, right? That's not what you do, right? Because not only did I crash, but you know, there's a chance, higher chance that I get in Cole's way or whoever's passing me's way and cause them an issue. So they really don't want you crashing too. They give you those calls to let you know they're coming to get out of the way, right? So anyways, safely as possible, get off to the side a little bit. They don't need to give them a lot of room, really. You'd be surprised how little room they need. Now, one thing I will say is this. If you're pulling off the trail and you have an option between an uphill and a downhill, always pick uphill, all right? In fact, maybe go a little longer just to get to that uphill, because sometimes if you pull off downhill, if it's steep enough, it can be challenging to get back on the track. So if you have a choice, always go off uphill. And another thing is, once that first rider's gone by, take a quick look over your shoulder, make sure there's not a second or a third guy, because honestly, if you're gonna get hit, it usually isn't the first guy that you got out of the way for, it could be the second guy. Anyways, yeah, we'll always watch out for those other dudes. All right, now the last thing is picking your first race, if you haven't done a race already, right? So if you're lucky enough to live in Missouri, you got a lot of options. In other parts of the nation, I'm sorry you're not quite as fortunate as us here in the Midwest. I mean, sure, you may have the ocean or mountains or whatever near you, but guess what? We got a ton of motorcycle racing. And one thing we have is the luxury of being able to pick between the different series, right? And so, if you want to try, if you're a first timer, and one thing you're kind of concerned about is being a lapped rider, not a huge issue, but if it is a concern you have, do check out some of the split formats, the More races, MORE, racemore.net, the Ford Motion series, and then of course my favorite is the Hillbilly series in the wintertime. Well, those are some of the series here in Missouri that you can check out for your first race. But personally, I like racing I kind of like the Missouri races, because it is a 2-hour race, and it's a really good way to see how you stack up against those A and B riders. Anyways, there's a ton of options here in Missouri. It's awesome. Enough about Missouri and how great we are. Let's move on. All right, now This is a little different, and this is about letting people pass you, right? And this isn't, I'm not necessarily talking about lappers, right? So how they line up, at least here in Missouri, and from what I can tell in other areas too, is, there's different classes that start a minute apart. And a lot of times it goes like C, C30, C45, blah, 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 right? Goes on and on and on. Well, if you're a C rider, or a C vet in my case, and a guy from the row behind you catches you, now he's already beating you, and in my opinion, you should probably let him by, because all you're doing is slowing him down and letting the guys behind him catch him, right? Now, it's kind of tough sometimes, because if you're in a race, it's kind of hard to hear the difference between those guys and the guys you are racing, because you're more similar matched as far as skill level goes, right? And so a lot of times, if you do have an opportunity to see who is behind you before you let them pass, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Because once again, if you're racing somebody, you can hear the difference sometimes between the guy you were racing a minute ago that's in your class versus the guy that's behind you now, and is from a row or two or three behind you, right? And that is trying to pass you, and he's already beating you because he's already caught that minute, 1 minute, 2 minutes. So he's really already ahead of you, and there's no point in really keeping him behind you. So anyways, that's a little more difficult to try to figure out, but once again, you usually don't have those issues in like the B classes. That's more of a C class, I shouldn't say C class period, but a C range of rider problem. Anyways, just something to think about. Don't think too hard about it, but keep it aware, keep it back of your mind about something that, is going on. If somebody from the row behind you catches you, let them pass. And that's one call I will make. If I'm 100% certain that person in front of me is not in my class, I will say, different class, right? Real loud, and so they can hear it, and so that they understand that I'm in a different class, and I'm not really racing them. I'm already beating them, and let them go. All right. That's it, really. Just remember, nobody's really making a living off of this. It's all for fun. We're here to have fun, and we enjoy racing, we enjoy competition. But mainly, we're here to have fun and hang out with a lot of other fun and just great people. So keep that in mind, and you're going to have fun as well. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you out there. Bye.